So let's talk a little bit about what it happens when you're experiencing a dark night of the soul, or a dark night of the ego, as I call it. So, for example, I used to have a story about myself, about my childhood, being bullied and rejected, disowned by my mother, abandoned by my father, a string of abusive, toxic relationships. And I had this story that I'm a hopeless romantic, and, I'm a poet and a songwriter, and that I love love and I love romance. And I would listen, I remember ever since I was a little girl, having a boyfriend at 10 years old, I used to start playing Key Sweat and, Boys to Men. And I'm like, although we've gone till the end. And I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the heartbreak. I remember I used to listen to One Last Time by Brian McKnight. One last time before I leave it all behind. It was like my go-to breakup song. I had a breakup CD for those. I even had a breakup tape for those who may remember that time. And I also had I had Marilyn Monroe frames all over my apartment when I was 18, 19. And I got a dog, and her name was Marilyn Monroe. And I was drinking a lot and, going out dancing and partying. And I had to mourn all of that. I didn't realize that having Marilyn Monroe all over my house, my dog's name was Marilyn Monroe. I had clothes with Marilyn Monroe. I wore high heels and, super tight corsets and red lipstick. And I didn't realize that I was recreating Marilyn Monroe's life in my own way, unconsciously. I didn't realize that I was attracting dysfunctional or toxic type of relationships to me myself, because unconsciously I actually liked the drama. I actually felt that romantic love was supposed to be dramatic and passionate, which is most passionate when it's dramatic. And I didn't realize this. So I had to mourn each and every one of these beliefs. So I remember my idea of fun sometimes was having wine and listening, I'm Latina, and listening to Luis Miguel and Christian Castro and all of that, no sé tú, pero yo no dejo de pensar, it was all of this very dramatic, I can't live, living is without you type of vibes, And so I was just consumed by this. I thought that this was life. There was this very deep feeling of emptiness, needing this half to complete me. This need for validation, for approval outside of myself. And, my hair and my makeup and the way I dress and the 6-inch high heels needing to be seen. And it takes time to mourn that. Even now, I'm still trying to get used to me not having lashes and even posting content without makeup, which is radical to me that I'm getting to this degree. Spirit told me to put my hair up in a bun. Spirit told me to wear loose clothing. Spirit had me donate literally all of my closet, because all of my closet, even a year ago, was still trying to be seen, because I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel that I was good enough. And so this is all different examples of the dark night of the soul, or of the ego, as I call it, because literally the mental constructs of the egoic mind, the egoic structure, they start falling away as these beliefs you start becoming aware of them, of their dysfunction. And they just don't work for you anymore. So then it's like, well, hold on. Well, then who am I? Well, then what do I wear? What do I listen to? What do I do? You know how hard it was for me to mourn alcohol? I don't drink anymore. That was hard to let that go. And so it's kind of mourning the girl who used to go to the club and get drunk and dance all night in her corset. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I kind of wish I could sometimes, but I just don't, it just doesn't fit me anymore, you know? So it's mourning those versions of yourselves. It's seeing the matrix. It's being aware of the programming that's happening right in front of your eyes. Mourning that. Mourning that you are not ignorant anymore. You are awake. And that's a process. And by the way, when you're going through a dark night of the soul, when I say you kind of wish you could go back, the ego might be like, oh, I wish I could just go out drinking and partying again, or, wear that or do that. But that's not true, because you weren't really happy then either. You weren't really happy. Like, yeah, maybe you had fun at the bar, but you would get home and feel super empty, or be super hungover and depressed all day the next day. So it's like, that wasn't real happiness either, now was it? So you catch yourself, okay? So yeah, mourning all those past versions of yourself, and even the story of I was abandoned, I was disowned, I was bullied. Like, ask yourself, why do I say these things? Is this making me feel more significant? This whole story of my mother disowned me or whatever, it's like, it makes me feel strong. Like, yeah, my father abandoned me, my mother disowned me, and look how I turned out. It's almost like still searching for validation. So it's getting really honest with yourself and really evaluating your beliefs, your narratives, your stories, and just, what is the payoff with this behavior, with this narrative? Is there another way that I could feel strong, that I could feel empowered without some sad story attached to myself? And so just getting out of that whole victim consciousness and going into creator consciousness. Like, wait a second, I drew every single experience to me on the soul level because I knew it would serve my evolutionary process. Every single thing, every experience, every person, every romantic relationship, my mother, my father, all of it, I chose it because I knew it was exactly what would propel me, what would catapult me to my divine destiny and the evolution of my soul. So that takes a lot of power too. Like, stopping those stories and those narratives, like rewriting them, and just constantly evaluating yourself, listening to yourself. Like, is this belief even true? Where did it come from? And that could also be a really uncomfortable process. So if you're going through this, stay in faith and know it's part of the process. You're not falling apart. You're coming together.